Hello and welcome to Punk 5 Pop. Today I want to do something a little different and discuss a video by a YouTuber that you very likely know far better than me, Jim Sterling. And his discussion of Abby's muscles in The Last of Us Part 2. Or more specifically, what other people have said about Abby's muscles. So let's jump into it. So I got the video pulled up here. I'm probably not gonna go through the entire thing, partly for copyright issues, partly because it would just be a dick move. I just want to discuss how Mr. Sterling here is avoiding the real issues of Abby's muscles in the game by picking and choosing the comments that fit the narrative of, oh, you guys are just mad about woman, which I'm so tired of at this point. So here we go.
And haven't forgiven, because you see, there are muscles in The Last of Us Part 2. Lady muscles.
Yeah, that's what the issue is.
And
Jim.
some of the comments I've been receiving whenever I've talked about this.
The issue is that women have muscles in the game. That's what it is. It is not. Okay, let's just go for 1 second and go over why. Fuck. Just 1 second and break down the actual issue that people have with Abby being so freaking jacked in The Last of Us Part 2. Now, it's not that she's a woman. The character model for Abby is actually based on a female bodybuilder who is that jacked, obviously. She did the mocap, obviously. That woman, however, has to eat, 4 or 5 to 7 meals a day, sleeps 10 hours a day, and is in the gym constantly to first have built up that body and then to maintain that body. It's not as simple as just, I'm just gonna lift a few weights every once in a while I'm fighting off zombies and scrounging around for food and bullets and trying to not freeze to death or, be freaking crucified by a religious cult that is still concerned about gay people and the apocalypse. That's its own video. Point is, when did Abby have all this time to work out so much? Where is she getting all of this food? We're talking thousands and thousands of calories of food. Really protein-dense food at that. When does she have time to sleep so much? As there are zombies and religious cults and Ellie chasing her down. That's the issue here, is not that it's impossible for a woman to be like this, it's impossible in this environment for a woman to be like this. And it is disingenuous arguments like the one that Jim is making in his video here that really, really bother me. So we're going to jump back and I can give you a little more of an example of what I'm talking about.
A wonderful little topic have been so incredible they could only be delivered to you by a Georgian aristocrat. It's a turn-off.
Here. I don't like muscular women.
Those arms are realistic. On a man!
And again, we've gone
Sure,
over that.
women can bulk up like this, but in reality it's far less common than having large breasts. Whatever. I was never in the target demographic for this game.
What does that even have to
Clearly
do with
not aimed at men who like feminine women. Royston! Royston! I decide what is sexy.
Okay, loud, overly loud noises aside, it's not gamers that decide what is sexy. I just want to get that out of the way here. It's not gamers deciding it. It's technically society that decides what is generally attractive and what isn't. And yes, generally, women who are thin and have big busts and long legs and all that sort of stuff are what's considered sexy. Extremely huge muscles, like completely ripped women, are not the traditionally sexy view. That sucks for the women who are super ripped, but there are people who find that sexy. But to even bring up this whole, well, I don't think it's sexy argument is once again just doing your level best to avoid the actual problem here of how she got that way, how she's maintaining that in the environment she's in. If you're gonna rip on people who are against this character, you have to actually face the arguments they're making. Don't try and pawn it off on some straw man that only a few people in the grand majority are saying. That's not how legitimate criticism or debate works. Get back into this here. We're gonna
ways in which games are deliberately designed to manipulate and prey upon people, I'm told I'm beating a dead horse, even though literally nothing's been done about the problem.
We're going to skip over any discussion
But by the clammy wet hands of God, so help us all, when it comes to a woman in a mushroom zombie video game having big arms, it'll be an outrage that burns for months on end. Abby in The Last of Us Part 2 is proving to be one of the most controversial Abby in The Last of Us Part 2 is proving to be one of the most non-controversial video game characters of all time.
Again, you just mentioned this zombie mushroom apocalypse environment she's in. And you just kept on going, drove right past it. You know? You can't just make some quick pass at the core of the issue and then act as if, well, I dealt with the argument. Didn't you see? I mentioned it. I mentioned the thing that you brought up as the problem. I didn't truly address it, but I at least mentioned it.
Ordinary human beings with some sort of purpose in life, or at least more than one hobby, Abby is a protagonist in a video game. To the gamers TM, you know the ones I mean, she represents the downfall of the gaming medium. Proof positive that SJWs have taken over video games by erasing attractive women and replacing them with attractive women.
Okay. Oh my God, there were so... I don't know where to start with the issues of everything that was just brought up there. Okay, let's just work our way from where I stopped on back to the front. One, again, Abby is not what is considered traditionally attractive for a woman. I mean, from behind... Actually, from hell, the neck down, a majority of people would probably not think that was a woman because of how just genuinely massive she is. When people think of a woman, especially an attractive woman, that is just not the first thing that comes to mind. Not to say that some people wouldn't find her attractive. But that's still not the issue here. That is nowhere near the real issue with Abby. Now, discussing SJWs in video games, SJW politics in video games, still not the actual problem that people have with Abby. Just not. It's, once again, trying to divert your attention away from the actual problem in order to try and belittle your arguments. Make you one of those gamers TM, rather than address the actual argument you're making. Never mind the fact that, yes, video games are becoming increasingly political. I'm sorry that you don't have an issue with that and everyone else does. That doesn't negate everyone else's problem with it. That they want a form of entertainment to not be overtly political. Can games be political? Hell yes, they can be political. Can they tell deep, meaningful stories about serious issues? Of course they can. The first game even handled serious issues, I would argue. But it did not beat you over the damn head with it. They don't have to beat you over the head with the politics, though. Look at just The Last of Us 2, for example. It discusses trans rights, LGBTQ plus rights in general, abuse towards people in that community. It discusses just massively bigoted religious cults and the issues with religion, all in an environment where none of that actually would matter. Anybody who you're trans, okay, nice. You know, there's fucking zombies trying to eat us, right? We're starving to death. We're slowly dying out as a species, but, you know, you being trans, that's what's important right now. Yep, not survival. That's just not important right now. Same with the bigot sandwiches joke. Was that guy an asshole for calling Ellie what he did? Sure, of course he was. Does it really matter overall? Of course it doesn't. Giant religious cult, the Seraphites, that are obsessed with wiping out gay and trans people? Why would you be worried about these people when, again, there are zombies? There are people trying to murder you for just scraps of food. There are people trying to murder you just to survive. But the gays, man, the gays, that's what we gotta worry about now. I mean, we're about to go extinct as a species, so, you know, yeah. Let's jump back into a little more of this, where hopefully he'll actually try and discuss the real arguments that people have made about Abby instead of trying to strawman the shit out of this.
Is, in their perpetually self-martyring worldview, yet another example of how real gamers, straight little white boys, are being ignored in favour of the non-real gamers, anyone who isn't a straight little white boy. In short, Abby is the final cuckening. Aerith Gaines, bro! A huge portion of the controversy is rooted in something so utterly, pitifully simple. They don't like that a non-conventionally attractive woman dared to be a playable character in a mainstream video game.
Holy shit! Holy shit, my man! You think that it is only straight white men that have a problem with Abby. Have you actually looked around YouTube at the people who have a problem with Abby, or Twitter, or Facebook, or anywhere? Holy shit. Also, you think that people have an issue playing with a non-male, non-straight character being playable? May I introduce you to Abby, or Ellie? God, they're so interchangeable at this point. Ellie. Can I introduce you to Commander Shepard, FemShep? Can I introduce you to Lara Croft of Tomb Raider, Mr. Sterling? No, she is not gay, but she's still a woman, and she's the only one we can play as. Oh my god! That's not the argument anybody's making. You find me just find me a actual sizable portion of people that are saying, well, I hated Abby because she is a gay female character and I didn't want to play as her. You're just straw manning the argument here. No one is complaining about Abby in that regard. You know what's an even bigger issue? Like, now you're getting into why people hated having to play as Abby. Could it have been something to do with her playing golf with Joel's freaking skull? Could that be it? I feel like that could be it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Her taking, like, one of, if not the most beloved character of a console generation of all of Sony's games. I think he's only second after Nathan Drake. And just getting his head bashed in. And then it's like, oh, we're going to make you play as the person who killed him to try and make you feel for her. She's going to play with dogs, and she's going to have relationships, friends, and you're going to love her. No. No. People are going to hate her, and the idea of having to play as her is going to be repulsive, because why would you want to be the person who just killed a character you love so much and that you want to kill? That you're spending the other half of this game doing your level best to kill. So again, it's got nothing to do with gender. It's got nothing to do with race. It's got nothing to do with sexuality. It is not being about an ist, a phobe, an ism. I don't care what you want to couch the terms in. It is not what you're trying to make it out to be. Stop making disingenuous arguments that do not reflect the actual issue to avoid dealing with the actual issue. There's nothing more frustrating than having to deal with straw men who will do anything they can to avoid talking about what's really wrong. Just get off the fucking high horse already. Get off the everything is about LGBTQ and gender rights fucking bullshit, okay? Get off of it. I want to say right here, I have a lot of respect for Jim Sterling. Think he's made many, many very good videos about very serious subjects that other people would never have really touched. He was on loot boxes and gambling in games long before even governments were on it. Going all, think of the kids, think of the kids. He's been right up Ubisoft's ass about the horror show that was their company. So it's not Jim himself I have a problem with. It is the argument he's making here.
And that is literally it for the vast majority of them. Oh, they'll dress it up. The whinging little lads who are still, weeks after launch, trying to invalidate Abby's existence as a character will try to tell you it's not about something so surface level. But it is. People hate Abby because she's reasonably muscular. And when I say reasonably muscular, that's the extent of it too. She is not, as some people who even like her described, super mega jacked. Maybe it's because I...
Oh my god. Even the person that Abby was based on is super mega jacked. Not even just by female standards, but even by most male standards, she was super mega jacked. And that woman is in a society where she can get food whenever she needs it. So, not only is Abby not reasonably jacked for the world we live in right now, where you can get all those things to maintain that body, because look around, Jim, I'm sorry, but God, what, 95% of the world at least is nowhere near just their fucking bodybuilder competition level jacked. They're just not. Now, let's look at this in the frame of the actual game. Let's look at it in context. Instead of trying to throw context out because it does not fit the narrative that you're trying to make about people being racist and sexist and bigoted. We are talking almost 30 years after everything went to hell with the cordyceps outbreak, I mean. There is... We have no idea how little food, for sure, but there is next to no food left unless you hunt it down or scrounge for it yourself, which is going to take up a majority of your time. There are, even in the first game, it's been mentioned that there is an ever-increasing number of infections as people slip out of safe zones, get infected, and turn into the cordyceps zombies, which are then becoming a bigger and bigger threat. In this second game, you have faction wars between the Seraphites and the WLF and who the hell knows who else. My God. That's going to take up a lot of your time, just scouting, patrolling, guarding supply lines. You do not have hours and hours every day to just be napping or eating, even if you had the food to be eating, or working out. There's just none of that available to you. All the things you need to be as jacked as Abby is not available. So, not only is she too jacked for the average person in the world we're in the game world, she's a freak of goddamn nature. She is the single biggest human being in the entire game. She is more jacked than all of the men, all of the women, all of the trans people. She's just the most swole thing on the planet. She is the Zeus of the apocalypse. So that's, yeah, wow. Fucking wow.
Spend a lot of time working with actual professional wrestlers, but I see super jacked human frames on the regular. And Abby, while very clearly built up, is nowhere near the top when it comes to getting ripped to fuck, which of course is fine, be as built up as you want to be. But the way some people talk about it, it's like they've never seen muscles before. They talk about her like she's Brock fucking Lesnar. But she does put Naughty Dog's intricately animated weapon upgrade system to shame by having the sweetest guns in the game. And the gamers can't fucking handle it. Which is why, despite the rest of the world inevitably having moved on to the next hype-fueled AAA...
Where in this are you going to address the actual problems people have with this woman? Where? Just once. Could you talk about what people have really said? What the real majority have been pointing out? Where is it? I just want to know that. Okay? None of this bullshit of gamers TM are just being racist bigots. No, you can't make that claim without going through their actual argument or proving that the actual majority is saying that. You don't just throw out claims, demand people believe it, then go on with your day. Or get mad when people call you out on your bullshit like I'm trying to do right now. Doesn't matter that you work with wrestlers on the regular. Nice humble brag, by the way. Point is, those wrestlers you work with have access to all the things needed for it. You're not getting away from that argument. Stop running from it. I'm sorry, but it's just bullshit.
A distraction, we still have a subset of hardcore gamer boy types who are diligently working to bust the myth that a muscular woman could be in their favourite video games.
Spoilers time for early spoilers in The Last of Us Part 2 by Naughty Dog.
When you consider what the game's narrative was desperately trying to do. But anyway, Joel was a shithead and a selfish character, and he was always going to meet a violent comeuppance.
Whoa,
that he died horribly was a natural story beat.
That's a discussion for a whole nother video about why are all these people are getting that Joel was so selfish and evil and wrong. He just saved that little girl who was never explained what was going to happen to her if she went through with a surgery to extract her fucking brain stem. They just went ahead and did it so that they could get power, because there was no way they were going to make enough vaccine. This is a whole nother video. Oh my god. Actually, I got it right here. I would highly suggest checking out EFAP with Mahler and the boys about this, because it comes up halfway through their 10-hour breakdown of Cosmonauts video on it. Highly recommend them. But, yeah, no, wow. Fuck off. Okay? I probably shouldn't be dropping this many F-bombs, but fuck off.
This out before. That anybody felt otherwise is shocking to me. There's nothing about Joel that ain't loathsome. Even his fatherly character growth is rooted, as the end of the original game, for something her character did to another character.
Which was
I don't
wrong.
get a single...
No one should be sending anyone death threats, especially over a voice acting job. She didn't write the story. She didn't build the character model. What say did this woman have in this? And she's a great voice actress, by the way. This is the same woman who did the voice acting for Abigail, otherwise known as Fetch, in Infamous 2. Or, was it Infamous 2? It was the first Infamous game that was put out on the PS4. Second Son. Fucking fantastic game. Great voice actress. Getting back to the point.
Care about her. I just want my Joel to not be ghost to death. And if you're that abusively disconnected from reality, hey, Ubisoft's hiring. We already discussed in a previous video how Abby's performer Laura Bailey has been attacked online by weird and fucked up love.
Okay, again, avoiding the argument. You're doing more work and spending more time trying to avoid discussing the true argument that people have been making then it would have taken you to make a video responding to it. You're just making more work for yourself trying to avoid it. Okay? Which just pisses me right off. Because why? Did Laura Bailey getting death threats have anything to do with this? No. Did Joel... all the incredibly stupid things you're saying about Joel have anything to do with this? No. This isn't about Joel's actions or character, of which I could rip you a new one for. I truly could. And it would be so easy. And I might just do it anyway. Because I'm just so annoyed at how hard you're working to not deal with the actual issue here. Like, if I did half of what he is doing in this video in any of my work as a historian, they would shoot me out of a damn cannon. So I don't get why he thinks he can get away with this.
Most of us fans who have maybe spent too much of their squalid, rotten lives. Most of them. Abby is not a traditionally, conventionally attractive video game character, and they despise her for it. You don't even have to look very hard to see their real problem with her. It all comes down to the muscles. At first, they tried to argue Abby wasn't a realistic portrayal of a woman simply because she was well built, and rather than acknowledge the existence of people outside of their tiny idea of what people can be, they decided it wasn't realistic that a woman could be so stacked. When it was pointed out that yes, women can get that swole and more besides, when it was pointed out that yes, the very woman Abby's design was based on was equally if not more muscular, the outraged gamers changed their tune. Now the popular argument persists. It's not that she can't be muscular, it's that she can't be muscular in The Last of Us Part 2.
Yes! Oh my god, it only took us until about halfway into your fucking video, but now you're actually getting to the argument. The real argument. Which you're probably now gonna just drive right on past. Just be going, well, I mentioned it, bye. See ya. Let's go back to calling people bigots and sexist and idiots. Yep. Cool. Cool.
The same group of status quo warriors who have spent years in this so-called culture war defending unrealistic body types is suddenly an arbiter of what is and isn't believable character design. After all the defenses of chainmail bikinis and everything Rob Liefeld did to artistic concepts of human proportion, suddenly the question of Abby's large arms in a mushroom zombie video game have turned every 2-bit gamer with a Twitter handle into an expert nutritionist who can scientifically argue that no women could get so hard in a post-apocalypse. You see, there's no food in a zombie apocalypse, so nobody can get the nourishment they need to build up their bodies to get muscles in the first place. That's logic that's suddenly been applied to a video game. I mean, sure, she's not even that extremely muscular and has no more meat on her than many of the men, but we're not here to question...
No. Oh no, buddy boy. Let's just take a look here. Let's take a look, shall we? Who could we pull up? Let's just see about the differences here. About who's... Oh my god, children. Why would you make a claim that people can so easily look up? Let's take a look at Abby's freaking build here. That? I mean, come on. Looky here. Let's look at her arms, for real. None of these images have been changed or doctored. Yet, you're like, nah, the men are totally as big as Abby. Like, even right here, even with a jacket and a shirt on, his arms are not as big as Abby's. And he's one of the biggest characters in the game. Oh my god. It's just not... It's so easily disprovable. The second you start actually pulling up pictures of other characters next to her, you see the massive difference. Again, Tommy with his freaking jacket on. And I have a denim jacket just like this. Most of that is the jacket, okay? Right here, you could actually take Tommy's head off because Abby has a shirt like this. If that isn't actually Abby's character model, put her head on it and it would be more believable. Like, I'm sorry that you're just this determined to make a disingenuous argument, since a lot of us would love to have proper discussion of why Abby is so fucking built in this game compared to everyone else. And I'm not just talking the men, I'm talking the women and the children. Wait, wrong argument. But, I mean, if we're going to discuss bullshit arguments, let's just really go ahead and go for it.
Male body types are we? Get out of here with that commie logic. And sure, we could say that in a game about mushroom zombies, the size of a character's arms aren't the biggest suspension of disbelief out there. But that kind of Bolshevism isn't going to get those cocks jerking, is it? And sure, there are supplement pills found in every drawer and cupboard that the protagonists chow down without hesitation. But that's just video game logic, and we shouldn't be looking for,
Okay, again, let's just break this down. The pills that you get for upgrades are a very, very limited resource that you have to look and look and look for throughout the entire campaign. They are not lying around in huge abundance. Plus, most of those pills look like they're just vitamins. Basic vitamins that normally you'd just go to a corner store and grab. Just for a little extra nutrition. It is not going to be enough. Vitamins are not going to be enough to build you up to that point that no one else has been able to build up to because there is not enough food. Protein-rich food. Remember food, everyone? I like food. Remember that? Remember when we used to actually have it before the fucking apocalypse came?
too much realism in a game? Yeah. Any reasonable person would be able to say, shut up, it's a video game. The reasonably muscular arms are among the more believable suspensions of disbelief in a mushroom zombie video game, and that's even if you think it's unrealistic in the first place. But that doesn't do enough to counteract the sheer hypocritical stupidity of a group of literal wankers who only ever shout realism when it's convenient, when they're trying to get an unconventional...
Give examples. Do you have any examples of this? Do you have examples where a majority, a true large sample size of people have been making god-awful statements and arguments that are bigoted, racist, or sexist, avoiding realism when it doesn't fit their narrative, and then going for it when it does? Because the only person who seems to be making those kind of bullshit arguments, Jim, is you. And other YouTubers like you doing their damnedest to defend even just this one section of this game, and it's getting eviscerated.
video game protagonist erased, or falsely claiming that black people weren't around in the olden days, which is why games set in medieval Europe should only have white characters. Idiot.
Oh god, it makes my head hurt. Okay. They're black people in the Middle Ages. I mean, properly black people. Not Middle Eastern, not anything else. Properly below the Sahara, black-skinned people. Yes, they existed. Were they traveling half a continent away from their home in large, large numbers to Europe? No. You know how I know that, Jim? Because I studied history through the Middle Ages. Africa and the African population were doing their own thing back in the day. They had their own wars, their own culture to deal with. They were not making big old hikes up into Europe to mess with the whites. That's why it's unrealistic for black people to be in a medieval war story. It's just so easy to tear these arguments down that I just almost feel bad about doing it. Which makes it even more frustrating. We're only halfway through this video, and I have been just having to ream every part of it. I feel like I am on EFAP. Because I'm having to fracking pause so much. And I'm not trying to ape on EFAP style. I love EFAP. I love everyone on EFAP. The only reason this video is being made is because I'm tired of sitting back and watching people make these bullshit statements with no evidence to back it up, claiming it just be the gospel goddamn truth.
What makes this situation so absolutely absurd is not just the fact that it's a mushroom zombie game and a pair of above-average biceps are the least of the fiction. It's that even within the world of The Last of Us Part 2, Naughty Dog went out of its way to show that Abby actually does have access to regular meals and a fitness regimen. Narratively, of course, the game establishes that Abby's Part 2, Naughty Dog went out of its way to show that Abby actually does have access.
So, you're saying that they show a workout schedule for her, right? The WLF Fitness Club. That's adorable. Not even going to discuss where the hell they got a printer and why they waste ink and paper, because I can tell you right now how expensive printer ink is. So, let's try and find this. Okay. I want to see what we're talking about here. Seeing jogging. She has rest days. You don't get rest days and be jacked completely. I'm sorry. She's resting. God, rest. So she's taking breaks 3 out of the 7 days here. That's not going to help you in the slightest. I'm sorry, it's just not. So we got jogging, and I'll be honest, I can't quite work out the rest, other than the rest and the jogging. But that's just not enough. You spend an entire day just doing jogging? That's it. That was your workout for the day. It's pretty damn average, okay? It is not the extreme workout that Abby's actual real life character model was based on. Does, okay? The woman she's based on is not just spending one day jogging and then just taking a day off. Not in order to look like this. The sheer size of this lass. I'm genuinely impressed with it. I think it would be pretty bitchin' to meet somebody this jacked. But again, let's look. Let's look. Here's the woman who actually plays Abby, and she is fit. And it is impressive, to say the absolute least. I want to applaud this woman for the amount of effort she has got to put in to be this fit. Like, I would not diss her for 1 second. Not because she could probably pick me up and chuck me like a ball, but because it's just goddamn impressive. But you don't get this from jogging and then taking a day off. Also, you don't get to take a day off in the apocalypse. That's not how life works anymore. There are no days off. Hell, this is Jim Sterling we're talking about. The man who spends so much energy discussing crunch and overworking of people in the game industry. So right there, we're seeing that how many people in today's environment get a day off at all? And she's just like, oh, we're going to rest. Now, you could say that I'm being a little disingenuous myself there and say, well, she's probably not doing nothing on her day off. She must be going for food or scouting or all that. And yes, she probably is. Which, again, is the problem. Ain't nobody got time for all this exercise. Alright? We don't. And at this point, I feel like I have gone on and on for far too long as it is. If you have gotten this far, you're just a fucking legend, okay? You're my damn hero at this point for getting this far. I am gonna stop the video here. We're about halfway through. He's not making any real argument. The sheer fact that it has taken half of his video to even get close to the core of the issue tells me a lot. If you want to see me cover the rest of this video or any other videos in the future, I do kind of want to make more reaction type videos to just stupid takes. Let me know in the comments down below. If you like the video, give it a like. If you didn't like it, give it a dislike. Either way, you're giving me some information on what to do to improve the channel in the future. Hopefully you'll check out some of the other videos we've got up. I'm going to try getting to a regular schedule for videos in the future, where it's going to be news, story discussions, reaction videos, give you a little variety in content, all of it on pop culture in general. So until then, this has been Punk 5 Pop. I'm Punk 5. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye.